Hello, vinyl community. This is Randy. I am going to do a video today in response to James Griffiths. I saw a video that he posted just in the past couple days called Records Bought in 10 Cities, or Picked Up in 10 Cities, or Records from 10 Cities. And, you know, boy, when I first saw that headline, I thought, that's a lot of different cities to be buying records in. I mean, because records are kind of hard to transport, you know, if you're, you know, traveling on vacation or for work or whatever. I mean, it's kind of hard to come home with a record. But anyway, then I started thinking about it, and I realized, well, maybe I can come up with 10, so we'll see what I came up with. I'm going to put a link to James' video down here. It's a great video. I tell you what's really good about his is it gives you some biography. He tells us a little bit about it, but he also uses graphics with maps to show us where all these places were, which for me is really good because I just don't know the geography of England or Great Britain very well at all. So it's great to see all those places he'd been. I don't have any graphics, but I am going to show you some records that I think I've gotten in 10 different cities. So I'm going to start first of all, I'll just say what we're hearing in the background is Moon Taxi. This is one that I got here in Nashville. The only reason I'm playing this, besides the fact that it's a great album, is it's called Mountains, Beaches, Cities. So the cities part, I think, is... I was going to use, I wanted to use Traveling Man, but I don't have any Ricky Nelson, so maybe I'll think about getting some Ricky Nelson. I love that song. Okay, so I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee, so I still have a ton of records that I bought when I was living there, so I just figured I would show you. I started listening to the Ramones. So I got Leave Home. Didn't get the first one when it came out for some reason, but I read, you know, Circus Magazine or Cream, how great they were, so I did get Leave Home. So there's a fantastic picture of the guys. This... I don't know if it's a first pressing or not, but it's one of the first batch. You know, this is when it still had Carbona, not glue, on it, so pretty good. Ramones, I love the Ramones. I also got Rocket to Russia. That came out, which I don't know if you can see all these inner sleeves or not. They're cool inner sleeves, though, with the cartoons and everything. Yeah, so Rocket to Russia, Road to Ruin. I got into the Century, but boy, you know, that production on there and stuff, you know, during some hard times or sometime I got rid of that. And boy, I guess this came with a really crappy sleeve. I'm going to replace that. I mean, it's been a while since I've played this record. Okay, so then I joined the Air Force in 1985. I spent 2 years in San Antonio, Texas. Well, about a year and a half in San Antonio, Texas, and San Angelo, Texas. During that time, all I had was a boombox because I didn't want to buy like a whole stereo until I got to my, you know, permanent place where I'd really be able to set it up and everything. So, yeah, San Antonio and San Angelo, I really didn't buy any records. I got to Berlin, and where I spent 2 years, and you know, lots of record stores there in Berlin, lots of records to buy. I got Big Star. There's nothing to see on these inner sleeves. Big Star and Radiant. Well, you might want to see the labels. The label on this one is the same as the label on that first one. So I got these in 1987 at a record store called Mr. Dead and Mrs. Free. A great name for a record store, Mr. Dead and Mrs. Free. Yeah, so they had both of these there. I was familiar with Big Star. I had Sister Lovers on CD. I'd never seen these before, so yeah, I got these. I've done some research. I'm not really sure when these were pressed or where they came from. There doesn't seem to be much information on them in Discogs. So I think I got things out of what here. There in Berlin, we could also buy records on the base at the BX, and I got Ice-T there, his first album. I like rap. I you know, had the first 3 or 4 Run DMC albums and Curtis Blow, and wasn't really familiar with Ice-T, but I saw the cover and it was kind of eye-catching, so I picked it up. This is a great record, so got that one there. in Berlin. I spent 2 years in Berlin, and then I spent 2 years in West Germany at an air base called Hahn Air Base, which is about an hour from Frankfurt. Frankfurt. So they had a World of Music there. This still has the sticker on it that you went in there. The records were just, the covers were there, and then you took them up to the counter, and they would pull the record off of the shelf and slide it in there for you. I posted on Instagram just recently 2 pictures of 2 Opal records, early recordings, and the other Opal record. One of them still had the sticker on it. The other one I had removed the sticker. The one I had removed the sticker, you can see why I removed it. It looks terrible. It's smeared. These stickers don't come off. So anyway, I got this one in Frankfurt. I got this one when I'd moved out there, and then a friend came over who had just come from the United States, and he told me, you know, Jane's Addiction. You really got to hear them. So I did, and yeah, great record. This is like a German pressing, I guess, or European pressing. So yeah, that was in Frankfurt. Also, Trier was not too far from where we were, and I got a same guy recommended Faster Pussycat to me, so sort of a hair band from the late 80s, I guess. This is a fantastic record. The songs on here are, to me, these songs seem like, it seems like they took cliches for rock songs and made a song out of each cliche. So they've got, well, Don't Change That Song, it's my favorite record. So for those of us in the vinyl community, yeah, I'm sitting on a stack of Black Action when I call it a night. That's great. Got Your Number Off the Bathroom Wall, you know, Cat House, City Has No Heart. The Bottle in Front of Me, a drinking song. Bottle in Front of Me is like a frontal lobotomy. So fantastic record. I tell you, with Faster Pussycat though, their second album, this record's about 35 minutes long. Their second album, in the CD age, about 55 minutes long. They have 20 minutes of material in that second album that shouldn't have been on there. They weakened it. It's one of my complaints about the CD age. The band started trying to put too much material in there sometimes. Okay, so then I got done with the Air Force. I moved to California when I got out, and San Jose was where I was living, so there was a warehouse there. What am I doing here? Okay, yeah, there's a warehouse there. When I got back from when I left in '85, record stores were still the same. You go to a record store, there were tons of records there. When I got back in '91, there were no records out there anymore. It was all CDs. I mean, my mind was blown. Anyway, when Body Count came out, I went to get that on the day, you know, or soon after it came out, but they were already out of the CD there at the record store, so I got the cassette, with all the words and stuff. This is an interesting album. This was the one, if you remember, there was a big controversy about the song Cop Killer on it, and they recalled it, so this is the original with Cop Killer on it. And the thing I thought was so interesting about that controversy was that, you know, the very first song on here is called Smoked Pork. I mean, that's the truly graphic song, and I don't think anybody in the media ever mentioned it. I guess they would have had to listen to it, become informed or something. Weird. So anyway, there's this Body Count record that I got there in San Jose. There was a small town there around San Jose called Campbell. There was a warehouse there. That's where I first got introduced to the Small Faces, so I picked up a couple of Small Faces CDs there. These are 2 compilations. This is like the immediate years. This is like the Decca years. So if you're into Small Faces, or if you want to be introduced to the Small Faces, The Darlings of Wapping Wharf, or I think this is, yeah, the Anthology 65 to 67. This is basically every song that the Small Faces did, pretty much. So these are great compilations. My introduction to Small Faces. Now I have other records. So, but yeah, that was the weird thing about getting back. There weren't so many records available. So there was a Tower Records there in Mountain View. I got this Foo Fighters record there just really because it was a record. I really don't like the Foo Fighters that much. I don't know if I've ever listened to this record, but I bought it just because they had it on vinyl. It comes with a window sticker, which I've never used. I actually just now discovered this. It's a gatefold sleeve. But yeah, like I said, I bought that just because it was there. I was, so yeah, that's Mountain View. That's another city there. So far we've had San Jose, Campbell, and Mountain View there in that Northern California area. San Francisco was about an hour north. You know, for the longest time, I was looking for a copy of Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, like, throughout the 90s. And, you know, I just show you this to remind you of the bad old days. There was no vinyl. You could not find a copy of Dark Side of the Moon. I finally did it at Amoeba Records in San Francisco. You know, it was an old beat-up copy. The cover was in terrible shape. None of the inserts were there. The record played okay. So yeah, that would be San Francisco. That'll be another city for me. I got some other records up there, but it's kind of hard to remember exactly what they are now. And then, but I did get Dark Side of the Moon when it was reissued in 2002, so I'm not going to show you that. But San Francisco would be a city where I definitely got some records. And Dark Side of the Moon is one that I definitely remember getting there. In Los Altos, California, this is all right there in the same area, all within, you know, just short driving area, pretty much local. Foothill Junior College, they used to have record swaps there, so basically like what you call a record fair now, I think. And I got my first copy of Love Supreme there. Impulse Mono, A77. I think this is a pretty old one. Got this there at the record fair. It's really cool. So yeah, like I said, mono, except when you pull the record out, it's stereo. So the guy there, I don't know if he knew what he was doing himself, but anyway, this is my introduction to John Coltrane, and yeah, stereo record and a mono cover. So yeah, Los Altos, that would be another city there in that same area. There was a city called Redwood City. There was a small record store there that sold mostly jazz records. I got just a few records there. This is like I think this is like a mid-90s reissue on Impulse. William Now just showed this record a couple days ago. I love this record. I compare it very much to Love Supreme. To me, they're like companion pieces. I probably play this more often than I would listen to Love Supreme. So I'm glad to get that one. So yeah, Redwood City. So then in 2001, I got laid off from my job out there, and I was thinking, boy, I'd really like to get back to Tennessee, and I came here to Nashville to interview for a job, and that company decided to hire me. They decided that in the whole metropolitan area of Nashville, there was nobody who could do the job like I could do it, so they paid to move me all the way back from California. So the management decision of that company, I don't know if it's the best management decision they ever made, but for me it worked out great because I got back here. You know, California, really expensive to live out there, and well, the Grateful Dead, you know, Jerry Garcia died in '95. That was my big reason for moving out there. So anyway, I moved back to Nashville. They brought me here to look for an apartment for 3 days. They were putting me up in a corporate apartment they had here, and the woman who you know, showed me to that apartment said, we have an apartment here for rent. So I found my apartment within about 15 minutes of getting there to Nashville. So I had 3 days to just kind of go sightseeing and stuff, and found Phonolux. So I got this record. There are but 4 small faces. It's a used copy. There's writing on it and stuff, but I love the small faces. I got this. Actually, I left it at the apartment. I asked the woman, I said, can I just leave this record here? I'll be back in, you know, a few weeks to move in, and I'll get it then. And she let me just, yeah, leave it behind. So yeah, immediate label, great record. So that was the first record I ever got in Nashville. And then finally, my last city here is going to be Franklin. There's a record store called Luna down there in Franklin, which I've just started going to in the past few months. I've gotten several records down there. Kraftwerk is the most recent one I've gotten down there. So that's it. It's a great idea, James. I don't think it was a contest. I don't think it's really a thread. I don't think he really asked for any responses or anything, but I thought it was a good idea, so I figured I would show you some records here. So Kraftwerk, custom label. So thanks very much for the idea, James. And if you have any thoughts on any of these records or these cities that I've been to, or anything else, I'd be interested to know what those are. So please comment. Thanks very much for watching.